If you think Bengaluru is just about computers, high paying tech jobs, and bosses telling you to work 70 hours a week, you are completely wrong. Imagine a city that was the very first in Asia to get electric streetlights in 1906, way before major world capitals. And yet, it is a city where you can order a hot dosa on an app, but by the time the delivery guy crosses the traffic, you've already aged 5 years and your hair is grey. A city where the weather is like a beautiful Switzerland hill station, but the traffic feels like a slow torture. How did a sleepy green town of parks and retired people turn into a massive tech battlefield where billions of dollars are thrown around like pocket money? Grab your filter coffee, hold on to your seats because the history of Bengaluru is not boring. It is full of dramatic fights, cheap deals, colonial gossip, and a plate of boiled beans that started it all. Let's go back in time, way back, to a hungry king. Around the year 1190, the Hoysala king Veer Ballala was hunting in the forest. He got completely lost. His stomach was screaming for food. He had no GPS, no Google Maps, and definitely no Swiggy. After wandering for hours, he saw a small hut. A kind old woman lived there. She didn't have chicken biryani or butter paneer. She only had a plate of simple hot boiled beans. The king ate them like it was a five-star meal. He was so happy that he named the area Bengaluru, which means the land of boiled beans. Now, historians will tell you this boiled bean story is complete gossip. Why? Because the name Bengaluru was already around way before that king was even born. In a place called Begur, they found an ancient stone carved in the year 890 CE that already had the name Bengaluru written on it. So the name came first and the beans came much later. But let's be honest, the boiled bean story is way more fun. And let's face it, if that king got lost in Bengaluru today, he would still be waiting for his food because the delivery guy would be stuck at Silk Boat Junction forever. Then enters the real hero of our story, Kempe Gowda the First. In the year 1537, this local boss looked at the windy, cool plateau and said, "This is the place." He built a huge mud fort and laid out the city. He was very smart. He divided the city into local market areas called pete, which literally means bazaar or marketplace in the local Kannada language. If you wanted cotton, you went to Cotton Pate. If you wanted rice, you went to Akki Pate. And if you wanted chickpeas or Bengal gram, which is called chikka in Kannada, you went to Chickpate. If you go to Chickpate today, it is still the exact same crazy maze. You have to fight for survival against thousands of fast scooties, shoppers carrying giant bags, and cows walking in the middle of the road, all while trying not to get lost forever. Kempe Gowda's son built 4 watchtowers at the corners of the city. He told the citizens the city will never grow beyond these 4 towers. Bengaluru looked at those towers and laughed. Today, those watchtowers are sitting in the middle of the city, and the actual boundary of Bengaluru is practically touching the next state. After Kempe Gowda, Bengaluru became a hot property. Everyone wanted it. In 1638, the Adil Shahi army and Shivaji's father, Shahaji, conquered the city. Shivaji's brother even ruled it for a while. But then the Mughals swept in under Emperor Aurangzeb. They captured the city, looked around and said, "This is too far south. Let's sell it." And who did they sell it to? The Maharaja of Mysore for just 3 lakh rupees. 3 lakhs! Today, you can't even buy a parking spot in Indiranagar for 3 lakhs. That was the ultimate real estate deal of the century. Then the story gets even spicier. A soldier named Haider Ali rose through the ranks and took over the Mysore kingdom. He and his famous son Tipu Sultan, the tiger of Mysore, turned Bengaluru into a massive military base. They built a strong stone fort and the famous Lal Bagh garden. But the British East India Company was watching. They wanted Bengaluru badly because it was the gateway to South India. In 1791, British General Lord Cornwallis brought a massive army and attacked the Bangalore fort. It was a bloody, dramatic fight. The British broke the walls, took the fort and eventually defeated Tipu Sultan in 1799. Once the British took control, They realized something amazing. The weather in Bangalore was heaven. It was not burning hot like Madras or Mumbai, it felt just like a cool evening in London. So they decided to stay. In 1809, they shifted their military base here and built the Cantonment area. This created a complete drama, a single city split into two totally different worlds. On one side was the old local town called the Pate, which was the busy traditional marketplace. It was traditional, crowded, Kannada speaking, full of local traders. On the other side was the cantonment. It was British, fancy, Tamil, and English speaking with wide roads, churches, clubs, and roads named after army ranks like Brigade Road and Infantry Road. The British officers sat in their clubs drinking gin and watching Hollywood movies at the Plaza Theatre, while the locals did business in the dusty markets of the Pate. They were like two different planets. But in 1898, tragedy struck. The deadly bubonic plague, which is a terrible rat fever disease that spreads very fast, hit the city. It killed over 3,500 people. People were terrified. They built temples to the goddess Mariamma, praying for safety. But this crisis actually forced the city to change. To stop the disease from spreading, the government built new, clean, planned areas with wide roads. That is how Malleshwaram and Baswanagudi were born. They laid telephone lines to coordinate health workers, made rules for clean toilets, and built the massive Victoria Hospital, which was opened by the British Viceroy Lord Curzon in 1900. Once the plague was gone, Bangalore started winning. In 1906, it became one of the first cities in Asia to get electric street lights powered by the Shivanasamudra waterfalls. Kolkata still argues that they had electricity first, but Bangaloreans don't care. They love to boast. In 1947, India got independence. And in 1949, the old local marketplace and the British military area, the cantonment, were finally merged into one city. The walls were down. But now the Indian government had a new problem. They needed a safe place to build high-tech factories for rockets, airplanes, and military radars. They looked at the map of India. Delhi was too close to the borders, Mumbai and Kolkata were crowded coastal cities. But Bangalore? It was right in the middle of South India, high up on a safe plateau, far away from any enemy borders, and had great weather for scientific machines. So, the government set up the biggest institutions here. HAL for fighter jets, ISRO for space rockets, BEL for defense electronics, and the prestigious Indian Institute of Science. Suddenly, Bangalore became the ultimate destination for the smartest minds in India. If you were a topper, you packed your bags and moved to Bangalore. But back then, it was still a very slow city. It was called the Pensioners' Paradise, basically a giant sleepy retirement home where the wildest adventure of the day was fighting with the local vegetable seller for free coriander leaves. Retired uncles came here to buy small houses, drink filter coffee, and walk slowly in the parks. The shops closed by 8 p.m. There was no rush, no ambition, just peaceful, quiet life. And then the 1980s changed everything. In 1984, the government made a new policy that allowed companies to easily import and export computer software. In 1985, a massive American company called Texas Instruments landed in Bangalore. They wanted cheap, smart engineers to design microchips. They set up a beautiful campus that looked like a holiday resort. Soon, local engineers had a realization. If we can write code for American companies, why can't we start our own? Companies like Wipro and Infosys exploded. They hired thousands of young graduates. Why did all these companies choose Bangalore? First, the weather. Foreign clients loved coming here because they didn't have to sweat. Second, the space. You could build giant green campuses instead of concrete offices. Third, the government gave huge tax breaks to tech companies. And fourth, the culture. In South India, education was the ultimate status symbol. If you had an engineering degree, you were a king. By the late 90s and 2000s, the retired uncles were outnumbered by young techies with backpacks, laptops, and credit cards. The quiet parks were replaced by busy pubs and cafes. Bengaluru became the pub capital and the rock capital of India. Then came the 2010s and the techies went completely wild. Engineers stopped working for US bosses and decided to become their own bosses. The era of startups exploded. Two guys started Flipkart in a Koramangala apartment and suddenly everyone wanted to be a founder. Techies were sitting in local tea stalls drawing business plans on paper cups and talking about funding rounds and exit strategies like they were movie stars. Rents in Indranagar went so high that landlords started asking for your LinkedIn profile, your 10th grade mark sheets, and conducting 3 rounds of interviews just to give you a flat. Ola and Uber came in to fight, charging prices during peak hours that could buy you a small flight ticket. And Swiggy delivery guys became faster than local police. The quiet retirement city was now running on high speed internet and venture capital money.
Yes, today the city has massive problems. The traffic is legendary, the water runs out in summer, the lakes, like the famous Bellandur lake, literally catch fire because of so much toxic chemical foam floating on the water. It is a city that grew too fast for its own good.
But even with all the chaos, the magic of Bengaluru is real. It is a place where you can sit in a cafe in Indranagar, talk to a stranger, and walk out with funding for your new business. It is a city that welcomes everyone, feeds them dosas, treats them to craft beer, and keeps them warm with the best weather in the country. From a simple plate of boiled beans to the tech capital of the world, Bengaluru didn't just grow, it coded its way into history. So, if you are watching this while stuck in a silk boat traffic jam, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and comment below. Is the Indiranagar rent really worth it? Subscribe now for more spicy history stories.